Believers, there is one distinction I've explained clearly on this channel, and that's the difference between a fantasy and a delusion. A fantasy is a draft, it's an idea that's quite messy. And because it's quite messy, there is work needed to refine it so it becomes more practical. That's a fantasy. For example, you want to go on a bike tour through Europe, which is possible. There are many roads, so you can do it. But if you just want to do a bike tour, that's it. And you think, I'm going to start in Lisbon, I'm going to end up in, let's say, Poland somewhere, in Warsaw. It's possible, but it's a fantasy because you need to realize that there are many borders. Despite it being the European Union, there are still borders. There are going to be different laws locally on where you can ride a bicycle or not. There may be weather disturbances. For example, you can be in Germany and there's bad weather, so you can't cycle anymore. You may get exhausted from time to time, so you may need to stay at an hostel. So there are a lot of things you need to work out to refine your project of cycling through Europe. It's a fantasy. It's possible. The resources are there, but you still need to work it out. Or when you have an artist, he takes a lump of clay and later he makes a sculpture out of it. The clay was in a raw state, messy, sticky, and he had to refine it to the sculpture. The same it is with all that we do. We start with drafts, and during the process, it's refined, it's shaped. So the beginnings are not supposed to be refined and perfect. Absolutely not. What I mean is, you cannot, let's say an artist cannot expect that when he finds clay, that the clay is already in a draft mode. He has to pick up the clay and form it out of what's in his mind. Because the clay is just material. You can't expect the material to be refined yet. He needs to refine it. So what I mean is, beginnings should be messy, chaotic, and flat out messy. They should. That's natural. When you were born, you came out as a baby, crying, screaming, hitting, all of that. You did not come out of the womb praising the Lord. You did not come out of the womb speaking fluent, posh English. You did not come out of the womb teaching science. No. So when a human being is born, he or she cannot even walk. You may even be confused thinking, is this a human being? He can't even walk, he can't do anything. Well, that's what it's supposed to be. So babies are supposed to be messy, clingy, this and that. So beginnings shouldn't be perfectly refined. They shouldn't. Now let's go to the other thing, a delusion. A delusion is often refined and worked out well. But it's worked out so well that you feel unease with it. An example I just gave about that bike trip to Europe, let's say someone else has another plan. They want to go on a train trip all the way from Lisbon to China. And they have the tickets, they've accounted for everything, they have the money, they have immersion numbers, so they arrange everything. But then somewhere you feel, okay, they can't just pick up the airplane and go to China if you want to go to China. Why, all the way from Lisbon, to China with a train. Now, it can be, if you want to enjoy the scenery, then you should do it. But these people aren't even the type of people that love to take pictures. They're not even the type of people that often want to go out in nature. They're city folk. But they think, okay, so this context doesn't end up. Why would you, someone that embraces city life, why would you want to go on a trip where you're out of city life most of the time if you want to end up in a city? So the plan and the idea has completely worked out. It's so perfect that it's too good to be true. Why? Because those people don't really want to go to China. They just want to escape. They're fed up with their lives and just want to do something just to be relieved. So they are delusional. And delusion is when people are determined to escape something and they don't care whether they endanger themselves or others while escaping. That's a delusion. A fantasy is a draft that needs to be refined. It's a raw beginning that looks quite unpromising. It looks unpromising, but there's potential in it. That's a fantasy. A delusion has potential, but because the motive is incorrect, that potential will end up in ruin. So you go from a fantasy to reality, and you go from a delusion to destruction. So it's fantasy to reality, delusion to ruin. That is how it goes. So everyone has fantasies, and fantasies are good. Fantasies are great. That means that work can be done and bad things can come out of them. But when someone has a delusion or when someone is delusional, walk away. Don't engage. Because things will only escalate over there. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.